It's showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
And a fine Saturday morning to the two of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
How is this?
Is that what Disney Plus is going to say when I boot up the app? Is that what I'm going to get? Is Andy?
It is. They're recruiting me to be the voice.
And they're spinning off
the Irish
a
voice.
brand new animated series. It's an Irish adventure, and that's Andy. You had no idea.
No, you could do the Australian one
He
too,
could.
right? Because
That's right.
Actually,
Throw another shrimp on the barbie. That's for you, Nick.
oh dear.
Terrible. Oh, they need to create a whole new set of superheroes that are just like
Just
culturally
bad
offensive,
Oh,
for like
geez.
Australia, because they just
Yeah.
their weapon is shrimps and they throw them at
No, don't they already have that with what's his name in the Suicide Squad with his boomerang? Isn't that he's Australian, right? Isn't he
It's-
supposed to be?
It'd be better if he was throwing shrimp.
Yes.
That's all I'm saying.
Boom a shrimp.
Yeah, shrimp is
It
like a
is.
boomerang.
It's already there.
I think I'm onto something here, really.
I kind of hope you're not.
Andy, are you operating on any sleep at all? I don't.
Who needs sleep?
Apparently not you. All right.
Oh dear. Well, okay. So the beloved Criterion channel is launched. Is that true?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Is it beloved
How do you
already?
feel about it?
No,
I
it's
feel like
beloved by me.
beloved and behated.
It's Nick. They apparently, there's issues whenever you're international, and so they have given a big finger to Nick in Australia. Although
I think
they
it's just specifically him, though, right?
yeah, I think so. With that nice email they sent, like, "Hey, we love movies. We're not going to let you see them."
It's a
There
very
you go.
narrow launch window. In fact, it's really only Steve's living room.
I haven't been in there as much as I really, really wanted to because work has been keeping me busy. But they do have some fun series in there that where they're sitting down with actors talking about their favorite movies or movies that inspired them and all that. And I am now like Bill Hader is my best friend I never met because he's talking about just the spectrum from 2001 to Evil Dead. And I'm like, yes, this is my kind of guy. And it's quite enjoyable. So what they've done is they've loaded in a bunch of the catalog. So there's different ways you can access it because what they have done with these series, so Bill, they have an interview with him and then he's got little intro pieces to a lot of his films that have inspired him or are his favorites. So you get the built out watch list of here he is doing intros and then here's the film. So there's many different ways to access it. Just instead of finding the movie, you can actually see all the associated bonus material with it. Nick just posted his review of Battle of Algiers, so I went in and saw they've got the movie, they've got a 24-minute conversation. It's called a case study. They've got 5 directors talking about it. They've got an hour documentary on the making of it. So there's my whole weekend right there.
It's nice that they've had stuff like that on their website, and I've always been getting their emails, and so you'll get these monthly emails where it's like somebody talking about their favorite Criterions or something like that. So it's nice to see that they've kind of found a way to take that and adapt it to be a part of their channel. It's pretty cool.
Well, it's a whole series called Adventures in Moviegoing, and they've got a ton of people. I mean, they've got Philip Kaufman in there, and so that I can see right now he does a little intro and discussion about Bicycle Thieves, Rashomon, Jules and Jim. So for people that are interested in these movies but maybe want a little bit why is this movie important or significant, you've got these experts that are going to tell you a little bit about these films, so it gives you some context about the significance or importance or why it was groundbreaking in its time. So it's a little bit like getting into film school.
Very cool.
So yeah, having a great time digging around in there.
I don't have it yet.
No, you've got your your Apple Plus coming, your Disney Plus.
All the pluses,
what other
Steve.
pluses?
All
you
the
got?
pluses. I'm going to get all the pluses.
Yeah, all the pluses. He's going to be Pete plus right.
Yeah, I'm waiting for all the pluses, and we've got dollars associated with one of the new pluses. Thank you, Disney.
$6.99.
That's market domination pricing, is what that is.
That's how you get a lot of people to jump on board quickly, and then they can jack the price up.
Yep, that's right. Get on there in 2 years. It'll be $24.99.
Yeah, because you got your email from Netflix that they were going to be charging you more, because that just happened in the past week or two. They're bumping there up by $1 or $2 to pay for all that original content that nobody has time to watch.
It. I watched some of it, but not really. And that's
you watch Stranger Things.
That's the problem. It is Stranger Things, and
yeah.
I say that right now. I'm catching up on the last season of Arrested Development this week, so I do watch some of it, but I'm not on Netflix nearly as much as I'm on Hulu right now. I'm on Hulu all the time, and Amazon Prime I'm on right now. So I know it comes in waves, but I'm looking at this at what Disney is going to have, and it just seems like they want to introduce a new staple. Like, you'll start by building your subscriptions with Disney Plus. It's $7 a month, and then you'll add the other ones from there. That's kind of how I have it in my head, that what they're trying to position as, and it seems like a no-brainer if you love this content. If you have kids, it's really a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So
it really is. Well, and it's also a smart way to really start pushing some of those people who still have cords away from their cords.
Right.
Because, Disney was one of the reasons that I have some friends who are like, oh, well, we still subscribe to the Disney Channel for the kids. So we still want that. Now that this is going to be an option, I see more people going, oh, crap, if I want Disney, if I want to be able to show that stuff to my kids, we're going to have to cut the cord, get a streaming setup so that we can now start putting those sorts of things back in front of them. So, it's an interesting strategy.
Putting those things back in front of my kids. Once we strap them in the chair.
Right.
Watch it. But we are getting some nods about what kind of stuff they're gonna put on it, and they're heaving up on new shows and new content, and it looks, there's some stuff that looks really promising. So I tried to be super cynical. I really do, and I know deep down I guess I am, but I also like that sweet content.
Yeah, just Marvel-wise, we've got the Hawkeye show that they're talking about, WandaVision,
with Lady Hawkeye. What? That was such a great addition to the new Hawkeye comic, and I think that could be really fun.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what they do there. Plus, it gives Jeremy Renner a chance to actually do more with the Hawkeye character, because he has never had as much as some of the other people.
Right.
But and I don't know how much there really will be of him, but I'm still excited regardless.
Yeah. And you started mentioning WandaVision.
Yeah, WandaVision also, which is kind of a spin-off show with Wanda and Vision, Scarlet Witch, and that will be an interesting one. And Feige's talking about how all these different shows are really going to be part of the universe, and everything is going to have kind of a connection to the story. So it's an interesting way to really kind of get people to keep watching in all sorts of different capacities, because there's that one, and then there's the Falcon and Winter Soldier show. So. Wow.
And don't forget about the What If series.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
I feel like we've talked about that one before,
well.
But that's very exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I see they're digging into the properties that they own, and rumors are there's series or movies based on some of these properties, including things like 3 Men and a Baby. Because I know everybody has been eager to go back to that well again.
Oh, no.
I bet Steve Guttenberg is the one who's really pushing that.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
I think
I need this. I see him doing a Star is Born James Mason speech to the Disney team. I need a job. Just
yeah, me and my robot buddy. On the other side of that, the poor X-Men people. Feige also said this week that don't hold your breath for X-Men to join the MCU. And I love the way he positioned it. Right now, it's just more of a comfort that they're all back in the same stable. But really, what we have planned for the MCU for whatever comes next after Endgame, we've got about 5 years planned out, and so we're not, and that doesn't include the X-Men because all this planning was done, before the business side had been worked out. So it'll be, he says, at least 5 years before we have some sort of integration between X-Men and MCU. Who knows who's going to be our principal spate of characters by then. But one thing he did say is that they are looking to recast everyone in the X-Men universe so far. So expect Dark Phoenix to be the very last of the existing current X-Men catalog. New faces coming forth with X-Men over the next 5 years. Do we feel? Do we feel heartbroken about that?
They've no, not really.
I'll tell you why I'm a little bit heartbroken about that, Andy. Because the movie that I think should have been, as he spoke, the last of the current spate of X-Men characters, shouldn't that be New Mutants? Where is New Mutants? That was the movie I was looking forward to more than anything, and there is no mention of New Mutants anywhere.
It's still, it's funny because I was back in the archives. What was that, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when that was announced, and then we're pushing it back because there's a release date conflict or something, or we're gonna make it scarier, and it's just been nowhere. And I think I checked, it's supposed to be sometime this year, this October, I think, is the release date that I saw. And so I don't know what's
I don't know how any of that lines up with all of these X-Men comments, but that's a thing that I find disappointing right now.
Oh, it's August, it looks like, is the release date on that. So we may get another trailer and see, because we're starting to get summer trailers coming out. So August 2nd. So we can do a little comparison to what we thought of it. I
don't even know if we can trust a release date on that movie anymore. Like, I feel like it'll be August 1st, and they might come out and say, "Oops, we dropped the hard drive. We'll see you next year or never."
I hope they figure that out, because I am really curious about what they're going to.
Totally.
I don't know. I feel like it's just one that they're trying to dump and just like get out of the way, just so they don't have to. It's like, okay, there it is. People can have it, and then we don't have to deal with it anymore. I wish they would do that with Aladdin, but that's this is the one they're going to be doing that with.
Aladdin. You guys, I'm not loving Aladdin or Lion King. I'm not loving these live action things.
The Lion King. Here's the thing that I find really, really interesting, or I guess it makes me curious, and I almost want to watch it just to see. One, I think it's a much more interesting voice cast. I like that they actually found a voice cast that seems more appropriate. I think it's going to be interesting in that regard. It still doesn't mean it needs to be done. The things that worry me, and I don't know how they're going to handle it, because what they're doing is they're creating this very realistic world. How are they going to handle the musical numbers for Just Can't Wait to Be King and Be Prepared? Both of which went to kind of, they really played with the animation in a way that made for an animated movie. And I don't know how they're going to introduce something like that in something that is meant to be kind of photorealistic. And I don't know. Makes me worried.
I'm trying to remember, Andy, Beauty and the Beast, because the whole Be Our Guest turns into like a huge like Broadway production number in the animated one. I'm trying to remember. They did something comparable in that one, I believe. I don't think it was quite the spectacle, but it still had that So I think
the animation style was the same though. It's like they were still the same. I mean, there was a bunch of CG like plates and things rolling around and stuff, but I mean, for the most part, it was still the same animation style. And so it was just bigger and grander. Like you said, it was very much a Broadway musical. But like, I mean, I don't know if you guys remember, but Just Can't Wait to Be King, like everything turns like all of the characters kind of become like kind of this really artsy characters, everything kind of changes into these vibrant colors of the animals and everything. So I don't know.
I don't know. I'm curious, and I know there's been discussion because the trailer was like shot for shot, but I remember reading an article saying, they did that for the trailer, but the movie is not a like shot for shot. We're just redoing everything, but with the in a live action format, that it's going to be its own thing. It's going to be the same story, but they're not going back and just saying, oh, okay, we're going to recreate this shot for shot. It's going to be just as they've done with the other ones. It will be its own thing. It's going to be the same story. I'm sure there are iconic moments that they will emulate, but I know there was lots of discussion about, oh, why even bother? Why do a shot for shot? But from what I recall, and I'd have to dig around to find the article, that's not what Jon Favreau is doing with Lion King.
Well, everything so far seems very shot for shot. You watch the trailers and I'm like, did they cut this exactly the way the other trailer was cut?
Yes, they did. I think that was intentional. It was intentional. That's
odd.
We'll see.
Well, where do we stand on Dumbo? I still haven't seen it, but man, nobody is interested in seeing it around here. So
no,
we're not in that sweet spot, I guess. A 12 and 16-year-old, and then two adults who grew up with the franchise or with the character. None of us are interested in seeing it.
Because it's like the most depressing. What I recall from like the original was it was like this like horribly like tragic, depressing story of just like oppression or something, and it was upsetting. It wasn't. I don't remember any. Was it a musical? Were there even songs in there? I guess the Mother sings one to him, but again, it was. Not an uplifting, joyous story that I recall.
It's much more uplifting and joyous than you remember.
Okay.
We're actually talking about taking the kids to it this weekend, so we shall see. I'm
but
very
Andy,
curious about what they do.
Do they want to see it?
Okay,
because
we're making them go. We're taking them. They're not at an age where they can really be like, no, I don't want to go. It's like, no, we're taking you. We're going to make you see this.
Here's an interesting question to my ear that, the film right now is, according to Box Office Mojo, is sitting at $220 million worldwide. In Disney's catalog, in an era when they're looking at, Captain Marvel cresting $1 billion, is $220 million still successful? It's
peanuts. That's what it is.
Did it even?
Well, Dumbo worked for peanuts.
Yes, he did.
It's that'll be interesting.
Well, Beauty and the Beast, that one ended up making worldwide $1.2 billion.
Mm-hmm.
So that made a pretty penny. The Jungle Book. Let's see what that one did. That one did not quite a billion. It was at 966.5 million.
So it was a failure.
Pete's Dragon, only about 144 million. So, which I think was one of their best that they've done. That was really a great change to that story that made a much better film, because the original was not that great.
It was bananas.
And then Maleficent, 758.5 million, and that one's getting its sequel. So,
well, it's interesting. Obviously, they've got a checklist of all of their animated films, and they're just filling in the holes.
Lady and the Tramp is coming next.
Yeah. So,
and they just keep doing it. I don't know how much I really am thrilled that they keep doing it. I think there are times when they find a way to capture some magic with it, but I don't think it's been as often as makes it worth it.
We watched. My family had not seen Mary Poppins Returns, so we watched that last night, and I think, to your point, That's an interesting one because we really enjoyed it, but all of us came away from it saying, wow, that was a remake. And I still found a lot of joy in the songs, and I enjoyed what they did, where they put these characters, and the challenges that they had to kind of overcome. It had some very familiar nods to the original film, and at times it felt a little bit tired, and so I found that a bit of a curiosity.
And I guess the story with that is that, and I haven't read the books, but apparently the series of books that they're based on are very much that way, where it's kind of the similar story each time. And so they pulled it from a couple of the other books. It still just ends up having the same story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with you. Although the music is the best part of that.
The music I was so impressed with the music. I mean, they just did a great job of finding the right tone, to keep it moving. And it was joyful.
And to fit into that world.
It totally fit into the world, yeah.
I marveled what they did to make it feel like, wow, this feels like it could have been written by the Sherman Brothers back in the 60s.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I think Emily Blunt's Mary Poppins was also interesting. It felt to me very much like a 20 years more experienced and kind of emotionally weathered Mary Poppins. Like there was more sarcasm in her. There was more just sort of, I don't know. She felt like Mary Poppins, but also a little bit frustrated. And I thought that was really kind of cool. Like she's just sort of exhausted with this. Oh, really? We're doing this? Okay, we're going to do this again. That's fine. Let's sing a song about it. Get in the pool, kids. Watch the dolphin. So I thought she was great. There is we need to do trailers. There's a notable absence.
There is.
From our trailer list. We need to talk about that.
Thank you both. Thank you both so much for that. I truly appreciate that.
It's because you started being on this show that we can't talk about these trailers anymore. Yeah. Curse you.
Yeah.
It's just, and particularly this one, because it is now, it's opening up old wounds, and the whole internet is tearing itself apart about, now they're just undoing everything from Last Jedi because people hate that, and it's just open. And I'm like, I'm just avoiding all that nonsense so I can just go in and watch this movie without getting into all the specifics of like, it's called the Rise of Skywalker. So what does that mean? TRoS. So I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to go and watch the story, and I'm not going to sit here and speculate. Are they retconning things? And is this the original intent of what they were doing and all that? Because I don't care. I'm just going to go and see the story that they're telling me, and then it's done. And so I thank you for not putting the trailer on here, because I managed to, for the prior two, for episode 7 and 8, walk in pretty much unspoiled, not really having seen much of anything, and I had what I think is a close to pure experience of just watching a movie and enjoying it, and have tried to avoid all controversy and anger and trolling and all of that stuff, and even getting into that. So, thank you.
You're welcome, Steve.
Well, now after he says all that, I feel like we can't talk about it. Thanks for killing that.
That's right. Let's get things moving.
All right, then let's just
say there, Pete. Do you see what he just did?
I do. No, he's totally. Yeah, he absolutely manufactured this entire conversation to his own whims. So in the show notes, I have now written, we are not talking about the Star Wars TRoS trailer. Moving on. And maybe we do a post-credits conversation where Steve leaves and Andy and I talk about it.
No, you can. You are free to do that. And because I think there are people that are out there, but I know there are some people that, Ben Lott is another one that just, as he said, I wish there was a way I could just mute all mention of Star Wars on my, on Facebook and Twitter, because even though he doesn't, see the trailer, it's going to start showing up everywhere. So yeah, I think you guys can do a little, addendum, thing at the end, because I know there are people that probably want to get into that. So I'm just not one of them.
Okay, that's fair. Let's do trailers, and Andy and I will figure out what the future looks like in the future. as it is supposed to be done.
The future.
future.
The future.
Okay. Do we have any rules to follow?
No, we don't.
I feel like there's going to have to now be a Dave Bautista rule.
I kind of feel like there's a Dave Bautista rule, but how do we do that when we have two Dave Bautista movies?
Well, I think you're the one who gets to kick off the Dave Bautista rule, because last time you picked a Dave Bautista trailer, you talked how much you loved him and you wanted to see more of him. So it makes sense that it's your rule. You get to pull.
Well, I want to say I do love Dave Bautista. I love who he is. I was not going to do this trailer. I was going to do TRoS, and I was bullied into doing this trailer by both of you. So suck it.
You're telling me you don't enjoy this trailer?
No, I'm not saying that. I had not even watched this trailer when you both told me, Pete, you're doing Stuber. I had not even seen it, so I was dragged to this trailer. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it. This is, of course, Stuber, director Michael Drowse, writer Tripper Clancy, starring Dave Bautista, and the amazingly funny Kumail Nanjiani with Karen Gillan, Marvel tie-in there, and Natalie Morales. And it is the story of a grizzled detective, Dave Bautista, who gets into an Uber pool driven by Kumail Nanjiani and the hijinks that ensue. There are many hijinks. It's one of those movies. It's a fish out of water buddy cop movie, and I really enjoyed the trailer. I thought it was funny. It's not of mice and men. So you're gonna get what you get. It's on the tin. That's what you're getting. But with 132 reviews, it does crest the 6-star rule on IMDb at a 6.4, and the trailer made me laugh, especially the part about the gun at the end. I thought that was very funny. I laughed out loud. What do you guys think?
It appears to me that the Dave Bautista is basically on the, I'm going to do what Dwayne Johnson did track, because it seemed to work really well for him.
Which is
doing
funny
some
on
other
his
things.
Comments of Dwayne Johnson.
Yes, but it's you're known for action, and then you do some of these goofy comedies, and then it just opens you up to this broader audience, and you can make this amazing career if you look what Dwayne Johnson has done. But yeah, starting with like it's the Scorpion King, and then doing some action movies, but then doing things like I'm trying to remember what was the one Dwayne did, was like the Tooth Fairy. You do those quirky family comedies, and I'm excited because it's a great time for comedy. This really looks enjoyable to me. I love Kumail Nanjiani. This one, it's a perfect summertime movie to get out of the heat here in Phoenix. I'm going to go see this with the family. We're going to have a good time. And it's it's the ride share of your life, or whatever their tagline is for it, right?
If that's not, it should be.
Yeah,
the ride share of your life. I love Nanjiani. I think that he has a lot of talent. This ends up feeling like a very kind of standard comedy like this that I'm not 100% convinced is going to work that well. Michael Dowse is a director I've actually worked with before, and I think he's okay. I think he's one of those directors who's probably better when he's doing the more indie types of projects like Goon, rather than the mess that I worked on him with, Take Me Home Tonight. This, I think if anything is going to save this, it's the way that Nanjiani and Bautista will end up working together, and just kind of how that relationship is going to grow and the chemistry those two are going to have. That's what a comedy like this really survives on. And so to that end, I think it looks like it has it from the trailer. Hopefully it will be a fun watch. I doubt it's something I'd see in a theater, but it might be perfect for like late night TV.
Yeah, that's exactly. This is a Netflix movie. There you go. This is why I'm keeping Netflix, because it just feels like one of those movies that I'm going to watch late at night when I don't know what to watch on Netflix. Although I just finished the most recent season of Silicon Valley, and Kumail Nanjiani in that show is just fantastic and absurd. And there's this whole sub storyline about him and his Tesla and his efforts to get everybody else to buy Teslas in his office so that he can get the custom wheels. And it is like, it's just straight up fantastic comedy. So I'm a big fan. And so he's becoming one of those guys that I'll see for him. But a lot of the sort of feeling I get about this movie is that it's the movie that they shot before other things started happening in their careers. And now this one just has to come out. Like it just has to be released so they can move on. And so we'll see if it can exceed that. But there you go. Opening with the Dave Bautista rule here, July 12th, 2019.
Well, I've got the other Dave Bautista trailer this week. And I really picked it only because in the hopes that we would do the Dave Bautista double feature. Because honestly, there also were just not a lot of trailers that thrilled me. I really didn't want to talk about Johnny Depp's new one. My trailer is My Spy. It is I guess a family-friendly spy movie with, this is another comedy we've seen a countless number of times where you have an action hero who is somehow put into a position where he has to kind of take care of a young child. And in this case, Dave Bautista is a CIA operative who, as we learn from Ken Jeong, his supervisor, he's not that great at his work in the field because when he's supposed to bring somebody in alive to be questioned, he ends up killing everybody. He's a mess of a kind of a operative. And so he's doing undercover on a family with his partner, played by Kristen Schaal, who I always find funny. And this 9-year-old girl ends up kind of jumping into the fray, and they have to kind of take her along. And it's comedy ensues as Dave Bautista and the young girl played by who is the young girl? Is it Parissa Fitz-Henley? They have to kind of work together to, she helps him learn to be a better, a better person and better at his job, et cetera, et cetera. And actually,
it's Chloe Coleman.
I think it was Chloe Coleman is the kid. Yeah, sorry, I think that was his mother. And she helps him be better at being a person and not necessarily thinking of everything as, kind of as in the world of spy and kind of the dark craziness. And he helps her, I don't know, presumably with something. It's got comedy moments. I don't think that the fact that Peter Siegel, who directed it, gives me much hope at all. He is the director of such fare as Naked Gun 33 1/3. Tommy Boy, some people will love him for that. My fellow Americans
do. 50 First Dates, Andy.
50 First Dates. He's got some stuff, but then there's and they said from the director of Get Smart. I'm like, that's what they're going with? Get Smart?
Yeah.
Why would they put that in there? It makes people not want to watch it.
Yeah.
At least they didn't put Nutty Professor Tooth Clumps.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know. I'm not super excited about this one. I doubt it's something I will seek out, but it was Dave Bautista and I just wanted to do the double feature. So what'd you guys think?
Well, for me, it gives me just a marginal hope, and then those hopes are immediately dashed. That it comes from the writing brothers behind successful writing brothers, John and Eric Hober, who did you guys. I mean, you enjoyed the Red movies, right?
I haven't seen them.
Red,
yes,
and
what?
the Meg. So there's
and
that.
Battleship
And that's the one. That's the one.
Yes.
That's Battleship. I had some trouble with Battleship, but these guys are raise a glass. They're working screenwriters in Hollywood, and they're making very big movies, and that should be something of grand excitement. So, congratulations to them. Congratulations making this making movies is great. This is also one that just feels it feels so much like a double feature between my trailer, and I am looking forward to jumping back to the Dave Bautista fare that I feel like he was on he was like on the cusp of, and I want him to get back to this when he did the what was the Bushwick, which I really enjoyed. I had such a great time with Bushwick, and that's more of the stuff that I want to see him move into post Guardians of the Galaxy Avengers. And this stuff is not that stuff. He is in the upcoming 2020 Denis Villeneuve Dune remake, reboot. So we'll see what happens. He's definitely that's the direction I like. Those are the people I like seeing him working with. So more of that, please.
I just think that now after these two trailers, I think he does need to come out and apologize to Dwayne Johnson for saying that he's a terrible actor. I'm like,
yeah, because everything that he's doing here indicates all he wants is to be in a movie with Dwayne Johnson.
Well, Pete, he is, this is IMDb and everything always changes, but after Dune, it looks like
Army of the Dead.
Zombie outbreak in Las Vegas.
Snyder.
Oh, Zack Snyder. Yes. So
I know.
We will see how that goes.
I know.
Yes. We'll see. All right. Oh, it's an action fest of trailers this week is what we've got.
Right.
True that.
And I think they're all of a piece because they're all movies that I will probably consider seeing in the theater just for the spectacle and enjoying it with a large group of people. But mine as well is one where, I could probably wait to see it on streaming or something like that, especially since it looks to be a retread of two movies we've seen before, which were featured or mentioned in the trailer. You know, Luc Besson, from the person that brought you Lucy and The Professional. And I thought, yes, this is, if you squash those two movies together, that's what you're going to get with Anna, written and directed by Luc Besson. But we've got a model that's a secret spy. And this says it's a trailer, but it's really, you don't get a whole lot because the majority of the trailer is her just in the fight scene in the restaurant, which reminded me of in Nikita when she goes, it's like one of her first jobs. She's got to shoot the guy in the restaurant. And I'm like, oh, but if that went wrong, we end up, fighting with plates and dishes and all of that. And then we have Helen Mirren appearing as sort of the mentor character. I thought, oh, this looks like we're revisiting this type of story again. And I enjoyed both of those movies. Hopefully Anna doesn't get turned into a flash drive at the end of this one, but it will be fun. It will not have a lot to it, but this is hitting theaters June 21st. Perfect summertime. Just go and eat some popcorn and have a lot of fun with this one. But we also have Luke Evans in this, as well as somebody. There's a few familiar faces in here, so I'm gonna go have fun with this one. But that's all it is. All three of these, just go turn off your brain, enjoy some action and some fighting. That's what we get during the summers now, right?
This is the 12th film titled Anna. Just important to know if you're looking.
And he was having trouble finding it. Yes.
Nope, not that one either. Dang it! No, not that one.
Nope.
I think it's. I'm probably not going to take in this one in the theater solely because of Lucy. Oh my God. I'm offended. But what I find most interesting, he's got this one in terms of Luc Besson's writing credits. He has Anna, which is coming out this year, and then he is co-writer on a film called Twice. And the synopsis is: after finding a military arsenal in her home, a wife learns her husband of 20 years isn't the man she thought he was. In fact, she questions if he's really her husband at all. So another sort of undercover spy military arsenal thing. And then announced Lucy 2 and Columbiana 2. And really, Luke, Where the hell is
No one was asking for
Valerian
those sequels.
I want to see more spacey stuff, man. That's where you shine. So let's take us back to space and do something fun like that. I'm done with you and your wackadoo action take. I'm done.
You say that, but it's clear that his career is defined by movies titled after women.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Nikita, Lucy, Anna, Columbiana? No.
Yeah. I don't remember Columbiana. Maybe he produced that one, but Angel A was one of his. I guess just people in general. You have Leon.
Yeah.
You've got
Arthur 3.
All the Arthur films.
The Transporter.
Arthur,
yeah. It's a title. It's a person, Yeah.
Yep. I miss Subway. Oh, yeah. You guys really like Subway, The Big Blue. Those were my movies, man. That was Christopher Lambert and in that Luc Besson. Mm-hmm. That was a fun movie. I'm done. Move on. Somebody get us out of this.
Well, let's do our lists. Let's
there
move
we
along.
go.
Let's get into our list. We're closing out our A Star Is Born series this week with the release of the episode about the 2018 version, and we put it to all of the lovely folks over on our Discord channel to pick what we would be talking about, and I think it's a pretty big margin. Nobody wanted to really hear us talking about the other two options, clearly, which were Family Business and movies with Oscar-nominated songs. It really was all about actors who really were playing their instruments. So that's what we're going to do. Actors playing their instruments. Let's do our lists.
All right.
Who wants to kick it off?
All right.
Yeah, Pete starts it, right? His trailer went first. He starts.
Thank you, Dave Bautista, for that. A great honor. I'm gonna
now
start.
This is going to be a whole new reason to I've got to find a red band trailer
Red Band
so I can go first on my
Red
list.
Band A24 with Dave Bautista in it. That's the triple.
That's the ultimate. When that happens,
yeah,
this show is going to explode.
That's right. There will probably be two of them in 1 week. But the first one that I want to start with, I think, is it was a really interesting film. I quite enjoyed it, and I didn't think I was going to. It's a biopic of Beach Boys leader Brian Wilson, played by two actors, John Cusack and Paul Dano. And I found myself really moved by this movie, particularly between the relationship of Paul Giamatti and John Cusack. I thought they were really great together, and this is one of those Elizabeth Banks movies where she's like totally normal and awesome, and I enjoyed her in it too. The musical bit, this is the thing I thought was interesting. Paul Dano talks at length about how much practicing he had to do to learn to play the piano in order to pull this off, and there's a lot of studio stuff in his part of the film, and as I went back watching it, because I never believed that he was playing the piano when he did this movie. I thought it was sidelined and that it was overdubbed by somebody else, because his fingers just don't look natural. They don't look like a piano player's fingers on the piano. But then I went this morning and I watched some Brian Wilson with George Martin in the studio. And I'll be damned, Brian Wilson doesn't look like he can play the piano. Like, his fingers don't move on the piano like a piano players do. That Paul Dano's amazing. He plays the piano for real the way Brian Wilson looks like he doesn't know how to play the piano. I was really surprised by that. And I think for my number 3 pick, it's got to be that sort of meta experience. Love and Mercy, Paul Dano plays Brian Wilson's piano like Brian Wilson does.
You came so close to sounding like your
I know.
Bare Naked Ladies.
I know.
Song.
Lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson did.
Playing the piano just like Brian Wilson did.
Yeah. There you go. What'd you guys? I mean, have you guys seen this movie yet?
No.
No. Is it? It's just one of those.
It was a trailer pick. I mean, it was definitely a trailer pick. We talked about it, so it should be on the list.
It should be a trailer rewind possibility.
It's a 7.4 on IMDb, gents. It definitely cruised right above it.
What's it on Pete's star scale?
I don't even. I didn't have it in Letterboxd yet, but I would put it at a strong 4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
4 and a heart. That's it. 4 and a Heart, Love and Mercy.
It's, okay.
And
All right,
now,
that's good. It's something JJ can
maybe
watch.
with the piano thing, I mean, I don't know. If it hadn't been a Heart, I definitely would have thrown a Heart at Paul Dano's fake real Brian Wilson piano playing.
Well, I'll go next. My first pick is a film from the 90s that was a pretty interesting one. It wasn't something that like won me over completely, but the lead central performance certainly did. I'm talking about Bernard Rose's film from 1994, Immortal Beloved, starring Gary Oldman as Ludwig van Beethoven. It's the story about his biographer trying to figure out who this immortal beloved is in some letters that he had left, and it still is like this mystery, like who was this immortal beloved that Beethoven wrote about. There's all sorts of theories, but specifically I picked this because Gary Oldman did learn how to play all the Beethoven pieces that he's seen performing in the film. It's not the first time he's learned how to play an instrument for a film, but certainly the piano. And he spent 6 weeks practicing for 6 hours a day, just totally got into it. And it's funny because people actually thought he was miming, but he's been reported to call them out when he was doing press junkets, because he was, in fact, playing all of the actual pieces in this film. It was a really interesting film. I loved learning a little bit more about Beethoven, and Gary Oldman really, as always, embodied the part brilliantly. So that's my first pick, Immortal Beloved.
That's been on my list for ages. I've never seen it.
Oh. Well, you can put that on your... I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if I want to do that anymore, considering Steve is so ready to watch any other movies.
All right.
Oh, I'm going to watch that this weekend.
I know. Yeah. The floodgates have opened.
And then there's In the Name of the Father.
Yeah. I saw this one, and I really enjoyed Gary Oldman, and this one I remember enjoying. There's some moments that stand out. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I saw it in theaters in 94.
Oh, okay.
But it is a 7.5 on IMDb, so
yeah. Okay.
It is well loved.
All right.
Okay, Steve.
I'm going to just stick with the same instrument, because we might as well just do that. Okay. So I'm going to go back also to the 90s, and I'm going to one up you, because not only did this person learn to play the piano, but also learned sign language and taught her on-screen daughter sign language. This is Holly Hunter in The Piano. Just really moved me, deal. And it's one that I have not seen. I really want to get back to, because it's just such a powerful, emotional story for a generation. Because it's a 20. How many years past this? It was like 93. Yeah, so we're 25 years. Time for a new generation, I think, to discover this movie, and just solid. Holly Hunter, Anna Paquin, Harvey Keitel, Sam Neill. Amazing story.
It's a steal.
It's a steal from. Is it a double steal?
Okay. No, it's not a double steal. It was a bonus for me, but
okay. Yeah. No, I love this film. It's like an amazing poem. I've always found it to be incredibly powerful, and it instantly inspired me to try learning some of these songs and realize how hard they are.
Yeah,
they are really hard to play on the piano. So kudos to Holly Hunter.
Yes. All right, so that comes back to me. All right. Well, when I first saw, and I think my next two picks, they're all piano.
Wait! What? You
who I am.
Violin? What's this violin
you
thing?
Said you had a violin pick.
Yeah, it was preempted. Yeah.
He's just saying that to make me avoid them.
He's misleading.
See what he did there?
You can now have a violin pick. It's not a steal. I ended up with all piano. And it's because when I started looking at this, I remembered just how I felt as a young sort of guy learning the piano myself, thinking, God, this is amazing. When I enjoyed the movie, and then I learned what these actors did to actually embody these parts. And I find that to this day incredibly inspirational. And so one of the early films that did this for me was 1989's Jim McBride biopic of Jerry Lee Lewis, starring Dennis Quaid. And Dennis Quaid already played guitar. So, I mean, he was already kind of a musician, but he didn't have that piano thing. And to hear him talk about the work that went into playing great stride piano it's really inspirational to me. And, to hear how he talks about that left hand and how hard it is to get what Jerry Lee Lewis is doing as a virtuoso piano player, to make it look so easy, I think is amazing. And you can search for Dennis Quaid playing the, piano, and, he still plays Jerry Lee Lewis tunes, in his band, and you can see him. I mean, he's still just crushes it. He looks great doing it for real. So Dennis Quaid, Great
With
Balls of
Alec
Fire.
Baldwin is Jimmy Swaggart. It's one of the most bizarre casting choices I recall seeing this. I don't think I saw it in the theater, but saw it, and this is Dennis Quaid carries this movie, but I was like, Alec Baldwin, what are you doing in this movie? Jimmy Swaggart, what? Because I think they were cousins or something like that. Jerry Lee Lewis and Jimmy Swaggart, or some family relation, but clearly not the cousin he married. That was Winona Ryder. Yeah, exactly.
A different cousin.
Yes, it is.
Very complicated. It's very complicated. Yeah.
That's fun.
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
It's fun. It is fun. I mean, that's the thing. It's fun, but to me, it's made better knowing his performance is legit. So there you go.
For my next pick, I'm going with good old creepy director Woody Allen. And I'm looking at a film that it didn't wow me, but there were things about it that I found really fascinating. Two things really was the fact that it introduced us to really kind of Samantha Morton as an amazing actress, especially in a role where she's mute. And then the fact that Sean Penn was playing this jazz guitar. Now, technically, I'm a little confused by this because the guitar solos were played by a different guitarist, Howard Alden, but Alden did coach Sean Penn on how to play. So Sean Penn learned how to play the guitar for this film. It makes me wonder if they actually just didn't use his recordings, but he did actually learn how to play. So, and that's the other thing that sticks with me is watching Sean Penn play this, because it's like the way that he created like the movements and everything that he was doing to kind of do this kind of Django Reinhardt-esque character, I thought was really fascinating. So that's my next pick, Sweet and Low Down. Did you guys see this one?
I haven't seen it.
I'm a Django fan, but it's Woody Allen, and I don't know. He's always hit or miss with me, and so this is one where I don't feel like I'm missing anything by not seeing it. Okay.
Well, it's more hit than miss. It's not one of my favorites, but it's still, I mean, it's 100% worth watching just to see Sean Penn and Samantha Morton. I think the two of them had some just great screen moments throughout the film. So it's worth looking at just for that. And they both got Oscar nominations. They were both wonderful in the film. So, all right, Steve, what's your next one?
Where to go from here? I know which things won't be a steal for Pete unless he's messing with me. All right, I'll go with this one, which this is a movie that it really blew me away with its intensity. And I had to do my searching, like what are the times when actors are really playing these instruments, and there's some instruments that are a little bit easier to fake than others. Like piano, you can shoot around, just you don't have to see the hands, the arms move, and you're like, oh, okay, we can believe that they're playing the piano. That's all we need. When you get into drumming, it's a little bit more challenging, I think, to hide that. And Miles Teller in Whiplash is one that just really stood out for me. Looking at researching this, that final drum solo they filmed over a couple of days and edited down into that, and it's just one that really amazing performance, and one that it just sticks with me when I think of actors really playing instruments. That's one that really was the first one that came to mind for me.
I'm honestly surprised that wasn't a steal from Pete, but I was convinced that he was going to do that.
I'll tell you, it's high on my list, and the reason I didn't talk about it because there are two movies that I've talked about so extensively about my love for them in this regard, and this is one of them. And I just felt like that's played for Pete. Pete needs to find some different movies. That's honestly what I was thinking. I've talked a lot about Whiplash and over the last couple of years, and it's a huge favorite. So
yeah.
And he's good in it.
Oh God, he's great. He's great.
Yeah.
Does that come back? Is that me now?
It's
again?
back to you.
I can count. Awesome. So my final pick. I was 12 years old when I saw this movie. I saw it in the theaters, the whole thing, and I made the decision to take it was a birthday movie for me, and so I made a decision to take my friends to see this movie. This Milos Forman movie about dueling classical composers. This is Amadeus. It was probably another 15 years before I actually learned that Tom Hulce and F. Murray Abraham actually sat down and learned all of the pieces that they were doing on this thing. And it blows me away. Even Tom Hulce doing the upside down piano trick that Mozart was known for. He did the whole thing, and it was amazing. Like, it's one of those worlds opening kind of things to see how deeply they went into these performances. I think they did a terrific job. The music is wonderful. And, it's neat to watch them do this when they don't have, the specter of Jerry Lee Lewis, for example, standing over Dennis Quaid saying, "You don't have it right yet, boy." These guys get to actually not only play, but interpret. And, I think it's a demonstration of real craft. And that movie was just fantastic. I was the only one to enjoy it on my birthday.
Imagine that.
So to Johnny Gallagher and Dogan Barnes and John Bridgman, I am sorry, all of you, for taking you to Amadeus when we were 12. I regret that. We should have seen something with more fighting in it. But I really loved it. So there you go.
That's funny. That's like, taking your friends to Chariots of Fire for your birthday party or something. It's like,
That's right. That's exactly right. I can only hope that these three have learned to enjoy it over the years as much as I have. So
I actually tried putting that on for the kids
they're not
a year
ready.
ago or so. Yeah. And I forget, it starts off with like, he's trying to kill himself. I'm like, no, I forgot where we kick off with this movie. Let's watch something else. But I'm like, it's all about a composer, great music, all this stuff. And nope. Oh my. Well, my final pick is going from one creepy director to another. This is Roman Polanski. Say what you will about Roman Polanski and his awfulness as a human being. I think that he has made some great films, and The Pianist is one of them. This film really just hit a chord with me. I know it did for, it's pretty high. It's 8.5 on IMDb. It hit a chord for a lot of people. And it's a beautiful, beautiful story about Vladislav Spielman. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that poorly, but wonderfully played by Adrian Brody, who learned how to play all of the music for this film. And he does it brilliantly. He's just great. And he really makes this film what it is because his performance is so powerful. And just the piano work is beautiful. I mean, it's a really haunting, touching Holocaust film that's definitely worth seeing. So that's my final pick, The Pianist.
It's amazing. He is so good. He's so good. This was on my list too. I'm so glad you put this on there. When he sits down in that with the soldier watching him play that ballad in G minor, it's just haunting.
It's really good stuff. Yeah.
Nope, haven't seen it.
Steve,
that's there's the Polanski thing, and then there's just one of these things where it's just the setting of that is one where I just feel like I just worn out from, and I know I've heard great things about it, and Adrian Brody, yes, I just don't want to put myself through that.
Well, it's worth it if you ever find the time. I hear Nick Langdon recommends it for you, so you should watch it this weekend.
You should watch it today.
Okay.
All right.
No, that's the
I know.
factor,
And that's the unfortunate
okay.
thing about that is I feel like I don't want to watch Polanski movies anymore. But then there's that, like that exists. And so there are certain films of his that I just have to separate myself from him just so I can.
Sure. Oh, yeah. No, I agree. Yeah.
All right. What's your last one?
All right. Oh, I'm my last one is instrument nobody else picked.
Is it a violin?
Is it the violin?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it is not the violin. Yeah, I don't know how often this happens, but sometimes you're just called to spend 6 hours a week learning to play the auto harp. When you were Reese Witherspoon in preparing for Walk the Line, this is one where I felt, I probably could have done both of them, but I felt like I'm going to go with the unusual one because I think you could probably think, piano, guitar, that's something that people could pick up and sort of just play around with. I don't know that anybody's just like, hey, having some friends over, just going to pull out the auto harp and just play that for a while. So I think it's the unusual factor on that one. I doubt anyone, Reese Witherspoon had any experience with auto harp before even starting this. So she wasn't building on any as a kid, I played around on the piano or guitar. So that's my final pick here for
that was on my list too. It was one of my backups. Yep.
Yeah, it's a backup.
It was. I don't know if I can call it a backup. It was like it's either this or that. It was going to be either this or Immortal Beloved for my third choice. But I mean, Walk the Line is such a really fantastic one. So I think it's definitely worth bringing up because both of them do such a great job in that film.
Totally. Joaquin Phoenix is amazing.
I did. Yeah. Yes. Oh, yeah. Speaking of backups, and this is one that I wanted to put in, but because of our rules, stuff that's been talked on the main show, but there's a great little feature on YouTube from Scott Pilgrim where they basically talking about everybody else in the band had to learn how to play except Michael Cera, and one of the I forget who somebody says, I think Michael's like toning it down because he doesn't want to make everybody else look really bad at what they're doing because they have they're trying this to learn these instruments, and he's just like, okay, that's what he does. So it's an entertaining little short there about Scott Pilgrim and each of them learning and how intimidated they are. Which was
I had another backup, which was Chaplin, because Robert Downey Jr. learned how to play the violin. That was my violin one.
That was my violin. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I also was, I was torn Sid and Nancy, Blue Valentine. Like there were some other options, but
all
in all, I think it's a pretty good list.
I had two. I have three on my backup list I'm going to call my bonus list because cheating. First, Don Cheadle does not play the trumpet in Miles Ahead, but learned the trumpet to play Miles Ahead. And I find that really heartbreaking because he worked so hard to actually learn the trumpet. And in this interview, he says, in the end, I just couldn't do it. Like it wasn't good enough. And for most of the movie, they had overdubbed him, with actual Miles tracks because it's a Miles Davis movie. So you use Miles Davis music. But on the improv stuff, he said, I couldn't do it. But I did learn to play the trumpet to make that work. I thought that was really cool. The one that I find equally disappointing, though, is the Fabulous Baker Boys, in which the Bridges brothers actually learned a lot of the music, but they were all sidelined. They were all playing dummy pianos, and they were overdubbed by Dave Grusin, and the other name escapes me. But Michelle Pfeiffer, of course, does her own singing in that movie, which is great. There is one scene where Jeff Bridges is alone in a lounge and he's playing a real piano and he's playing himself, which I think is very cool. And you can look up clips of Bridges playing elsewhere. There's a great clip at one of these benefits where Jeff Bridges is taking turns with Andy Garcia playing piano for people, which is really fun. And finally,
you do have him in Crazy Heart too.
Yep, that's right. Which was also on the list. And finally, Nashville, where Robert Altman not only made all of his actors play their own music, but write it. Come on. That feels like a hard miss.
Yeah.
Anyway, great list.
Yeah. Lots of good stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff.
What are we doing next week? Andy, you got to own this one because I haven't finished watching it yet.
Where are you guys going?
Oh, geez. That's a good question. Well, it's about trying to figure out, where you are in life, and just kind of your path for life. It's about grad students, and I think he's doing I want to say it's like a study abroad type of program. And so he goes to live in this apartment in Spain, and it's a group of students from all over Europe who are all living in this place together. So we could certainly do like study abroad type of things. We could do, a flatmate type of movie where you've got a bunch of people living together and having to, get along and stuff. You've got, let's see, there's, what else do we have? We've got the whole cultural blending of a bunch of different cultures coming together.
I like both of those. I also like the idea of movies about like figuring out who you are. Like figuring out. I don't know if that's the thing that ends up with this movie, but that's certainly how the first 15 minutes.
Oh yeah, no, there's definitely some of that. Is trying to figure out, who are you going to be? What are you going to do with your life? Are you going to pursue your passions, or are you going to just, just kind of get the job that you feel like you're on the path to do?
Mm-hmm.
So we could do something like that. I don't know. Is anything else? What about you, Steve? Anything piquing your curiosity from all of this?
No, I mean, I haven't seen it, but I'm looking at the description, and I think, that sort of finding your path in life is a good one. The IMDb plot keywords are not taking me anywhere interesting. And I guess, so they're from all over Europe. So is there like I don't know, dealing with living within a different culture? I don't know if that's part of any of these stories of when you're moving into a different place and adapting there, if that's part of that. I don't know if there's that many movies that tackle that, though. According to IMDb, they speak the international language of love and friendship.
Right.
The international language. Love.
Well, yes. I like cultural blending. I think there's something interesting there. I wonder if we could, if just saying that gives us, something where you can have people from different countries working together, or just, a story about people from different cultures.
I like it. Yeah, get it on the list. Stat. Okay. I've got movies in mind.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Lock it in.
Okay. Cultural blending. What's next? Do you want to do? How would you describe what we were talking about, Pete? Kind of like, passion versus plans or something.
Oh, yeah, like meaning of life movies. I don't know.
You're talking about like what, selling out your dreams for like a career,
or just not. Yeah, exactly. Something like that.
What are you going to do with your life movies?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that we can just do that. I like that. What are you going to do with your life?
Right. Yeah.
Is that 3? Do we have 3, or is we still on 2?
That's 2, right? We've got
that's
cultural
2.
blending.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with your life movies? And
weren't we going to do study abroad, or is that too much cultural blending?
That's cultural blending.
Flatmates.
Like roommate movies.
Oh yeah. Okay. Roommate movies. Yeah.
Okay, there we go. I like that. Cultural blending. What are you going to do with your life movies and roommate movies?
Good. It's good. List.
It's up on our Show Talk channel, everybody. So get in there and vote. Even if you haven't seen the movie, you should still be able to pick one of those and go, yeah, I can. I'll make them talk about this week.
I'll make them talk about it. Dance, monkey, dance.
Well, that's what we're here to do. Let us dance for you.
Yep.
Let's see. I think that's all of the news that we have for this fine day. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out, for downloading, listening to this very special episode. And thank you to all of our patrons for supporting us as we do this show. Thank you, Steve, Andy, for hanging out.
Thank you. You bet.
Hondo.